Of the many popular religions of the modern day, one of the most misunderstood is Wicca. A person unfamiliar with this religion often carries a typical stereotype. They are all witches praising Satan, casting horrible spells, and causing mayhem all over the world. But actual Wicca is very different from stereotype Wicca. It is really a peaceful religion that empowers, liberates, and promotes spiritual growth and personal happiness. Satan is not even a part of Wiccan culture, but deities are worshipped. The spells cast by Wiccans are not horrible by any means. They are meant to bring about good changes. The world of Wicca is a very accepting and open world that discriminates against no one. True Wicca is about love, harmony, peace, and positive world energy. Wicca can be classified as a neo-pagan religion. Neo-pagan is a term which refers to any religion based off of an ancient pagan religion. Neo-pagan is also used to describe most environmental or earth-based religions. It is, in a sense, a catch-all phrase. Wicca is an earth-based religion. This kind of religion focuses primarily on caring for and maintaining the earth, but can also focus on a mother goddess in one form or another. A religion like this is often sought by someone who feels a strong spiritual connection with nature. Wiccans strive for creativity, empowerment, and building one's personal relationship with the divine referring to a mother goddess or the spiritual aspect of the earth. These come about by the use of witchcraft and magic. Wiccans use spells during rituals to help bring about the things they want. The spells and rituals bring one closer to their mother goddess and help bring about positive changes in the earth and its people. These are the very basics of the Wiccan religion. Wicca as it is today began in the UK in the 1930s. Gerald Gardner is said to have helped take Wicca into the mainstream, thus causing the growth in popularity, which reached its peak in the 1950s. The Gardnerian form of Wicca is considered the traditional form today. It is also known as British traditional Wicca due to its place of origin. Over the years, as Wicca has grown, it has also branched out into many other sub-forms. These many versions of Wicca are what help to make it so versatile, which is one of the aspects of its appeal to the modern-day worshipper. Wicca continues to grow in popularity each year around the world. Wicca is based off of the symbols, traditions, and deities of the ancient Celtic and pagan religions. Many of the same sabbats, seasons and holidays, are celebrated by modern-day Wiccans as the ancient pagans. These are similar to Western holidays such as Christmas or Easter. There are 8 major sabbats celebrated by Wiccans, and nearly all of them have a Western counterpart. For example, Christmas is called Yule, and Easter is Ostara. The general ideas of these holidays are similar, but the dates celebrated are usually a few days to a few months different than their counterpart. When joining a new coven or entering the religion, there are initiation rites and rituals, which is a similar concept to the practices of ancient paganism. Other similarities can be seen in deity worship. Nearly any Greek or Celtic god or goddess can be found somewhere in Wiccan worship. This is why many of the same gods and goddesses the ancient pagans worshipped are the gods and goddesses modern Wiccans worship. But because Wicca is essentially an equal opportunity religion, gods and goddesses from any religion can be found in worship as well. There are Hindu, Roman, Norse, Irish, Mesopotamian, Egyptian, and Chinese gods and goddesses, though the Greek and Celtic are the most common. An interesting argument among Wiccan historians is that because the Celts existed in 800 BCE, Wicca is one of the oldest religions in the world. Nearly all westernized religions owe some of their traditions or practices to ancient paganism. It has a heavy influence on many things even to this day. From this belief, Wicca could be considered one of the oldest religions. However, to others, Wicca is a mixture of ancient Celtic and/or pagan tradition and various religious traditions of the modern times. This is why Wicca is also considered to be a New Age religion, and not one of the older religions of the world. This argument depends on what definition of Wicca one chooses to believe. there is no evidence to prove either stance right or wrong. Today there are many different versions of Wicca. This is because Wicca is an open religion, meaning that as long as one adheres to the central beliefs, anything goes. The two most common are the traditional Gardnerian and Eclectic versions. The traditional Gardnerian form is most often a group of Wiccans or witches, called a coven. The eclectic form of Wicca is typically just an individual witch practicing alone. There is no coven, and the individual practices his or her own belief system. Other types of Wiccan include fairy, reclaiming, and a Christian version. Fairy Wicca focuses on things like fairies, elves, gnomes, sprites, and so on, hence the name. Reclaiming Wicca focuses its energy on political activism. Christian Wicca worships the Virgin Mary as its mother goddess, and upholds more Wiccan tradition than Christian tradition. Because there are so few guidelines to Wicca, Wiccans have many options as to how they worship. Wiccans can be monotheistic, where male and female deities are worshipped as one. It can be dual-theistic, where male and female entities are worshipped separately. Most commonly, Wicca is polytheistic, where one worships many gods and goddesses. Henotheism, or the belief in male and female as one supreme deity and other lesser deities beneath them, and even atheistic Wicca are possible. Atheistic Wicca is debatable, however, because it depends on one's definition of atheism. The few basic guidelines which all Wiccans must follow are the Wiccan Rede and the threefold law. The Wiccan Rede is a simple guideline which Wiccans are encouraged to follow. It states that one should always treat others respectfully, but do as you please. In other words, everyone should be nice to each other, but they do not have to should they not want to. Wicca is not a religion of rules or enforcement. One is free to do exactly as he or she may please. Not obeying the Wiccan Rede results in spiritual consequences, which are explained in the threefold law. The threefold law is made of 3 parts. The first states that what one gives, be it good or bad, will come back to them tenfold. The second is that the punishment of sins is carried through 7 generations, or 7 lives, should one believe in reincarnation. The third and final is that how one treats others is how that individual shall in turn be treated. This is similar to the golden rule that one sees in most religions. The threefold law also resembles the popular belief in karma. Many of the core Wiccan beliefs are similar to those of other religions as well. Someone unfamiliar with Wicca might notice the unusual spelling of magic. Wicca spells it with a K at the end. This is to distinguish between the magic of Wicca and the magic a magician performs. Magic is not synonymous with things of mystical or miraculous nature, as the word magic, without a K, might describe. Magic to a Wiccan is essentially a law of nature. It is an important part of their ritual practice. Not all Wiccans view magic in the same way. Depending on the type of Wicca, magic varies in importance. Some types do not even practice magic, but see Wicca as a purely spiritual religion. Wiccan rituals generally revolve around holidays, sabbats, or seasons, solstices, equinoxes, and deity worship. Rituals like these are usually celebrated in a coven, but eclectic Wiccans can celebrate them individually as well. Regardless of the type of Wicca, all rituals have the same core aspects. There is a sacred place, commonly a magic circle on the ground, called the sacred circle, which may or may not contain a 5-pointed pentacle. There is an altar in the middle of this sacred circle, and various tools and objects are placed on the altar. Many of these objects are the same which would have been used by the ancient pagans. Examples are the chalice, candles, small statues or idols of a particular god or goddess, and a ceremonial knife. Spells, magic spells, are an important part of Wiccan rituals. A spell is typically cast from inside the sacred circle. It can be cast by the coven as a whole, or a solitary individual. Spells are not used for evil. A true Wiccan spell is cast to bring a positive change in the world. There is a book of spells which Wiccans may use, the Book of Shadows, and it is considered the Wiccan equivalent of the Christian Bible. The book contains spells of previous witches, but each individual is encouraged to make some of their own spells to add as well. They should use only the spells in the book which work for them. To relate spells in the Book of Shadows to other world religions, one can compare them to praying. Prayer is most often a plea for some positive outcome, much like the positive change brought on by a spell. There are a number of misconceptions about the Wiccan religion. The most common is that Wicca is satanic. This is far from the truth. Wicca is not based out of Christianity. Satan is a Christian concept, so how then could Wicca possibly be associated with Satan? The Christian Satan is, to some, based off the deity Pan, who is considered a Wiccan deity. This is probable cause for the misconception. Wiccans and Satanists both use the pentacle, but in different ways. The Wiccan pentacle is positioned so that one point is facing up. The single point facing upwards symbolizes the Mother Goddess. An inverted pentacle, so the 2 points are facing upward, is what Satanists use. Only occasionally will a Wiccan invert a pentacle, which is used for certain rituals. A Satanist pentacle is always inverted. It will never be positioned any other way. This is another possible cause for the misconception. Wiccans practice witchcraft and magic. They must be evil. Again, this misconception is far from the truth. It is true that witchcraft and magic are a very important part of Wicca, but a true Wiccan will never use it for personal gain or to harm. That would be a strict violation of the Wicca Rede. The religion of Wicca is about spiritual progression. Causing harm or cheating is clearly not a way to accomplish this, so such negative things are obviously not a part of the Wiccan belief system. The most likely cause of any misconception of Wicca is largely due to the negative connotation of paganism most other religions hold. Pagan has become an insulting and slang term, but in reality the word only describes a person of the pagan religion. Ancient pagans are associated with human sacrifice, evil spells, demons, and many other negative aspects, whether they be a part of the original pagan religion or not. This then causes people to believe anything with pagan in its title to be focused on those negative aspects. This leads to a worldwide misunderstanding of a beautiful and peace-loving religion. While the confusion between the Wiccan and Satanic pentacles is understandable, the negative connotation of the word pagan is most at fault for the typical stereotype of Wicca and the misconceptions associated with it. Over the past decades, Wicca has become one of the fastest-growing religions. As people open their minds and begin to explore what faith suits them best, Wicca is gaining an immense amount of popularity. The eclectic variety is growing the fastest, and will soon outnumber the coven varieties. Many people seem to be striving to find a religion that does not strangle them with rules and harsh beliefs. A common theme in the world today is to attain personal happiness and satisfaction in life. Overbearing and controlling religions are counterproductive to those goals for many people. They want a religion to enrich them spiritually and bring them closer to their spiritual reality, which is exactly what Wicca is about. The religion of Wicca is very open and accepting of all types of people. Any person who understands and lives out the Wiccan Rede and the threefold law can call themselves a Wiccan. It is a religion for people of all walks of life. It does not discriminate. It is a religion of love, happiness, and harmony. There is no place for Satan, demons, or evil in Wicca, contrary to the misconceptions. There are so many options open to those considering Wicca. Nearly anyone could find their own niche. Because of this openness, acceptance, and variety, Wicca could one day become a universal religion. There's no telling what the future of Wicca may hold.